Caroline, thank you for joining me today. I've known you now for about 8 years, and we've only met online, yet I consider you to be a good friend of mine. And I want you to share your story, your online story about your journey.
Yes. Well, great to be here, first of all. So thank you very much for having me, Adrienne. And it's been an absolute pleasure. I count you as one of my friends, definitely, as well. The relationship that we've built over these years of starting off in the online business space and growing from there has been an absolute privilege. And we will meet one day. I am coming over.
Yes, we will.
We've got another one.
Yes, exactly. Caroline is in the UK. We're in Vancouver, but we've connected because we all want to work with people we know, like, and trust.
This is it. Yeah. So, and that's actually a good segue into my journeys. I started in the online business in the digital world, back in 2019. So, we're now 2025. So 6 years ago. And I did that off the back of coming off a transitional period in my life, I think is a light way of putting it. But having had a couple of big shifts, big life events, should we say. First of all, I was an IT consultant for 13 years, had a job as a business analyst, project manager, and lost my job, which was a complete shock. I was 35 at the time. And so I use that actually as a opportunity to pivot, because I really felt like the corporate world wasn't where I was meant to be, but I didn't know what else to do. And I wasn't trained in that. My degree was in IT and business. I was in that world. I was following the traditional path. I was, on my way up the career. I had the house, I had the car, I had all the things apart from the family and the relationship. But, so when I lost my job, I saw it as an opportunity to pivot and go chasing the things I actually truly enjoy in life. It was the first time I got to ask myself the question, what does Caroline enjoy? Because up until that point, I'd been living the life that I was supposed to live, the life that everyone had, the script, the plan, following the plan, and it wasn't making me happy. So I then went off and had a complete career change, followed my passions of photography and travel, and ran away to sea and became a cruise ship photographer for 3 years, which was incredible. A lot of fun, and just what I needed as a complete break. So I was able to sever a lot of ties to the old me and start afresh and start to really...
And what was that like for you? Because I'm sure you got a lot of pushback because you were then breaking free from the way people had always known you.
Oh, they found it so confronting. I found it hilarious. But at the time, I felt completely liberated, honestly. When I lost my job, after the shock, wore off, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I've got to pay the mortgage. How am I going to, how about all the money? And then I suddenly thought, no, hang on, this is a sign. This is what I actually wanted deep down, was the opportunity to make a change, but I wasn't brave enough to do it while I'm still at work and still stuck in that identity. So this was, to me, the universe giving me a sign going, right, you want something different done? Yeah, now's your chance. Off you go. And I was like, right, I'm taking it. Bring it on. Yeah. I was excited, but my friends and family, they were like, "You're doing what now? You're going on a cruise ship? Well, you're going on a cruise ship? How long are you going for? What are you going to do with your flat? How long are you going to be away for?" And you could sort of see the cogs turning, and this was just like, not compute, does not compute. And it's, they'd had me in a box, and I was completely breaking out of that box, and they were so confused to start with. Then at first they thought it was a phase. And they thought it was something that I could almost feel them patting me on the head going, all right, Caroline, you've had some tough times. This is something you've got to get out. All right, off you go. And then come back and then you're going to settle back down, right? And, get back on the train. And I was like, well, we'll see. I don't know where it's going, to me. Yes. And then they drew a line under my old life and said, right, what's going to happen next? I don't know, but I'm open to it. And so I ran away to sea. Started a new career, I'd got a passion for photography, but no professional experience, learned on the job, and I absolutely loved it. I came alive because for the first time in my life, I could just be me with no pressure, no expectation. I didn't have anyone around to, live up to, any old identity or old, impressions of me. So I had a blank sheet of paper, and I found that I just really enjoyed chatting to people and making people smile for a living and getting paid to travel the world. And for a while, it was just so much fun. And I was like, hell yeah, this is what life's all about. This is way better than things.
What did you learn about yourself in that when you took that big leap and you were in this life that was completely different, not only than you expected, but everybody expected of you.
Yeah.
What did you learn about yourself?
I think the biggest thing I learned was to trust myself and trust my heart.
Mm-hmm.
The little voices that have been in my head for such a long time, I discount, that this isn't for you. I'm sure there's another way. There's something else out there you're meant to be doing. And I was aware of them, but I just did not know what to do with them because change is scary. And you're always afraid of, what people might think. What if we fail? Is it just voices or is it real? And when I followed those voices and the feeling I got, the buzz, the excitement, the joy I got from just doing what lights me up, which I've just learned, adventure is a big part of me, novelty, doing new stuff, meeting new people. I'm a people person and following my passions for photography. It was a creative outlet that I didn't have before in my previous job. And it just tapped into different parts of Caroline and gave me space to express myself in such a different way to what I had before. And so I think I learned the feel, I just felt amazing. Don't get me wrong, it was hard work, it was stressful, there was long hours and physically demanding compared to sitting at a desk all day, running around a ship, taking photographs and chasing you around and getting dressed and putting, all the technicalities of it. But I loved it. And that taught me that actually those little voices are trying to tell you something for a reason. Yes. And when we trust them and listen to them, they actually know better than this knows because the mind is just trying to keep us safe. The mind is trying to keep us doing what we've always done, doing what our parents want us to do, doing what everyone around us wants to do, because that's what makes them feel safe. Because if we're predictable, then they feel safe. When we start doing unpredictable stuff and going off script, it makes them question themselves and ask questions of themselves that they're not ready to answer. And that feels fearful. And so, but also they cared about me. They didn't want me to go down a rabbit hole, or do something that would hurt me. And so a lot of times our loved ones give us advice to keep us small, keep us on the same track because they want to keep us safe because they care about us. And that's beautiful. And that's lovely. And I've learned to accept that and go, that's beautiful. And I appreciate you're worrying about me, but it's okay. I know what I'm doing. I don't always know what I'm doing, but I know it's in here telling me it's in the right path. And so I've learned to follow that, and that has been a gift that has served me, taken me to places in my life, and taken me to depths that I would never have got to otherwise. And so many other people don't.
Wow. So it took, or tell me, you had a crisis that happened in your life. And was it that finally you said, okay, I have to reassess my life. I have to do something different. Can you talk more about that? How adversity played into giving you the courage to do something different?
Absolutely. And I think when I look back, I've gone back through some of my diaries, my journals from around that time, and I pinpoint a point at least a year before I lost my job where I knew I was on the wrong path, but I just didn't know what to do about it. And I didn't know what the right path was. And I spent a year of reading some books and doing some stuff and having lots of conversations with my best friend. What if conversations? What if, what would you do if in your ideal world, if money was no object, if time was no object, what would you be doing? And we had all these conversations. We came up with these wonderful things and we were just like, yeah, well, that's just a dream world, isn't it? Nobody gets to live that life. Only like rich people or, trust fund babies or whatever, or celebrities get to do that stuff. We're just normal, average people. This is all we're meant for. But deep down, part of me just didn't believe that. But so in hindsight, I've learned a lot more about spirituality, and I've learned a lot more about manifestation. I've learned a lot more about our subconscious and all sorts of other things. And I now, in hindsight, believe that I manifested losing my job. And that
interesting.
It happened for me because that's what I need. Give me the break and give me the sign, if you like.
Yes.
Because I think there's, I tried to explain this the other day, to make a change in our life.
Yes.
Then there's the pain of staying where we are versus the pain of change. Mm-hmm. And while the pain of staying, the comfort factor of staying where we are is greater than the pain of change, and we don't change. But as soon as, one of those shifts, we've got to shift it the other way to make the consequence of staying where we are actually greater than the consequences of changing. And for me, losing my job just took all of that, I've lost my job anyway. The worst has happened. The thing that I was afraid of doing, because if I change, I lose my job and I lose security and I lose safety and I lose money and all those things.
Yeah.
When that's the way,
yeah. So
then I'm
in
like,
fact, that was a gift in a way, because it forced you to get out of your comfort zone and to do things that you had been afraid of for so long. Yeah.
So it was. And I it's the best thing that ever happened to me, losing my job now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But that's the other thing, I think, when stuff like that happens to us, and it happened to me again 3 years later when I lost my best friend and she died suddenly. But that second time around, although, it hit me grief and loss and it hit me hard.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I had this trust now that it was all going to work out, and that I didn't need to understand how it was going to work out, what it was going to look like, where that was going to land me. But I knew that if I listened to this, I'd be okay, and it would all work out beautifully. And it would all, don't get me wrong, I'd have my best friend back in a heartbeat. Trying not to be morbid kind of way. In another way, she, by leaving this world, she was only 53. She was in the middle of her life, prime of her life, and she dropped
Yes.
Completely unexpectedly. Completely rocked my world. I see that as a gift now as well. The gift that, again, she took away some of the things that I was leaning on, some of the support structure, massive part of my life. But I've come out the other side bigger, better, strong, more resilient, more powerful, more capable, more trusting of myself, and all those things that I was afraid of losing before.
Yes.
I thought were outside of me. A job, family, relationships, all those kind of things. The journey so thus far has taught me that stop looking outside. Everything you actually need's in here.
And that was very interesting, because I've watched you evolve over the years and face your fear and move through fear to open a whole new world. Can you share a little bit about that and what that process has been like for you?
Yeah, because I'm going through it again right now. And it's bloody hard. But interestingly, so I'm going through another major shift in my life right now. Personal, professional, romantic, you name it, everything. But this time I consciously chose to put myself through that, because I know that the other side of it's going to be beautiful, even better, even bigger. But it's so hard to get across to somebody who hasn't been through this kind of stuff. But when I look back to what I've achieved over the last, it's 10 years now since I first lost my job, 2015. In the first 4 years of going to the cruise ships and having an amazing time, being paid to go on world cruises, spending, winter in the Caribbean and all the rest of it, and doing what I love for a living and getting paid for it. Not getting paid very much. I didn't care, because I got paid a tenth of what I was getting paid before, but I was 10 times happier. And that taught me,
interesting.
Money does not buy happiness. It really does not.
Yes.
So then been on the journey. And the things I've achieved in the last 10 years, and certainly the last 5 years, far, far, far outweigh anything that Caroline from 2014, when she was sitting there going, I know I'm meant for a different path, but I just don't know what, and I'm too scared to change.
Yes.
If I sat down with Caroline now and told her, can you imagine that in 10 years' time you'd be doing this? She'd be going, no, I can't see it. No, not me. No, you must be talking about someone else. But I've just broken through so many of my own barriers. I don't, a lot of people look at me and go, you haven't done anything particularly special. But I've started to, basically I've gone self-employed, started my own business.
Yes.
I now operate entirely online, working for myself. And last year I achieved my dream of running my own business from the back of my camper van. So I bought a camper van last year because I love to travel. Cruise ships taught me that. Yeah. I spent a month this summer traveling around Spain, Portugal and France in my camper van on my own, and running my business from the back of it, and living the lifestyle. And I was just share pictures on Facebook with my friends and family, and they absolutely love watching me. They live vicariously through me. Oh my God, where's Caroline today? What's she up to today? Oh my God, doing that. And,
I can attest to that, because Caroline helps us with our websites, with all the technical stuff. And you are often in different places and living out of your camper, Reggie. And so you've even named Reggie. And I've also watched all the challenging things that have come along with having to do that from a technical perspective, to be able to run a business out of a camper van. Yet you continue to push through those barriers, and you continue to have success on your terms. not on other people's terms. You are, and you're not saying this, but you are an authority in a very large community of individuals who are looking to make a difference in the world in their own way by creating their own voice and their own branding out in the world. And you help people work through their blocks, also help them technically. And so you've been such a hub of information for so many people. Can you share your thoughts on that and how the world is changing, how the world needs experience and wisdom like you've been talking about?
Yeah. So yes, how we met was part of an online business community, and I've become a coach within that community, specializing originally in helping people with the technical side of running an online business and advertising an online business online, using my technical skills from before. They sort of translated quite nicely into this world. And in that space, it's just thousands of people from across the world entering this community, all trying to change their lives in one way, shape or form. All of them for various different reasons, the traditional world not working for them, or they can see opportunities for abundance, freedom, creativity, and all the things that they feel that they were missing, like I was in my corporate world, for example, in this space. And so I've now worked over the last 4 or 5 years with a plethora of people from all over the world, all ages, all walks of life, all background. And I find it absolutely fascinating. But I work with a lot of people who, perhaps at the older generation, should we say, who...
You can say that, Caroline.
Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that.
Thank you. Anyway, I mean, the majority of people, I'd say, are midlife upwards that come into this community. Sort of that we do have some younger people. We do have people in their 20s and 30s, certainly in their 30s, young dads, for example, who want to create a better life for their kids. Mainly work with people at that sort of midlife and beyond and up to retirement, and actually well into their 70s, even a couple in their 80s as well, that we work with to this community, all looking to make a difference, make an impact, using their own experience or their own skills, in their own way, and do it online. And I think, I can speak a lot about it, but what I love about it is seeing people do things that they never thought possible before. A lot of people that come in who think, kind of want what they promise in the online world of the amounts of money you can make and the time freedom and the freedom of, like me, work from anywhere, but they're scared of what they actually need to do. And they're scared of the technology. They're scared of the digital world, especially people who aren't, perhaps don't hang around on social media or don't spend a lot of time online. It can be very scary and very daunting, but definitely see a lot of them when they, with the right training, with the right support, with the right guidance, building their confidence, building their skills, these people have so much value to offer. And when we help them tap into what that value is that they have, the older you get, the more life experience you've got, the more wisdom you've got, the more you actually have to share. What do people go online for? People go online for entertainment and education. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of youngsters out there. I can tell you about the millions of Gen Xers and the millennials and the Gen Zs, not Gen Xers, sorry, the younger ones. In their teens, 20s and 30s, creating content all day long, becoming influencers and, living on Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and all those kind of things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yes, there's people consuming that content and unfortunately doom scrolling, wasting their life, in my opinion, on content that's not helping themselves or society. But actually what they really want to hear from is the people older than them to guide them. Yeah. Because that's what we're missing out a lot on, is those role models, is those elders in our society, in our community, to guide them and give them, share the wisdom, pass down the stories and the knowledge. And so helping the older generations to be able to use this kind of forum, just like you guys are, you've got so much wisdom and so much experience, all this background from your recruitment, days and all your, all the stuff you've written about in your book and all the stuff that's gone into the game that you've built, everything that you're doing online. It's an expression of your knowledge, experience, passion, wisdom, and a drive to share that, to give back. And I think the more we can put that kind of content and more, human content, because there's so much AI content out there at the moment. And I've had a lot of fun playing with AI. As a, it's a very good creative outlet, but that's also taken away the humanity, I feel, of the community that we live in society. And being so much of our society is carried out online these days, online banking, online shopping, online dating, online, you name it, everything's online. That if we can get more people sharing their wisdom and knowledge and passion in that space. I think that adding valuable stuff online and valuable reasons for people to be hanging out online and connecting. I mean, one of the biggest things, one of the most beautiful things, like you and I, a lot of my friends, a lot of the people I hang out with these days aren't my old friendship groups. They're people I've met online. And I spent this summer traveling around France, Spain and Portugal. And most of that time was spent meeting up with people that I know from my online community.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, because really our life experience is our expertise, isn't it? And we all have a different life experience. And so the world is just open to us sharing that when we, like you say, get through our fears and, are willing to get out of our comfort zone. It's like you did. So Caroline, you said that you are 10 years, you're in a different place now than you were 10 years ago. And so where do you want to be 10 years from now?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't done my vision boarding exercise for this year yet. Yeah, I want to be helping more people shine their light. It's fascinating, the journey I've been on and where I've ended up, or where the digital world has taken me so far. So, for example, I was helping people create their own YouTube videos to launch to run as ads. You and I worked on them a lot, and helping people record videos of themselves promoting something, promoting products and services online, and running them as adverts on YouTube to be able to promote products and services in return for a commission. It's called affiliate marketing. And I wasn't so interested in the affiliate marketing side of it and the money side of it. I could help people because I had confidence in the technical side of things. A lot of people don't. And I apparently have a skill in teaching people, making complex technical things simple. So I was able to help a lot of people.
Do. Yes.
Thank you. It is one of my gifts. I don't like talking about my gifts, but yes, it is something that is a skill that I'm blessed with. And I was able to use that skill to help people launch, to film themselves, to write a script, create a video of themselves talking and put it out on the internet, motivated by making money from it. But I got so much fulfillment out of doing that. And what fulfilled me was actually helping people to get the confidence to get on camera, show their face and share their story. And just even the discovery exercise of working out what their story is and having the guts to share it, and seeing it's that overcoming the fear thing again, and seeing how much people grew in self-confidence and self-belief in having done this. Just getting to the stage of launching their first YouTube ad. Didn't matter if it made money or not. Just getting that first ad out there gave them so much confidence that they could do something they'd never done before, something technical that scared them and they didn't think they could learn it. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, yes, you can with the right training. But also they were so scared of being seen and of putting, themselves in front of complete strangers where they might be judged, be vilified. There's so much trolling going on online. There's a lot of people, very scared of that side of things. But helping people overcome all of those fears and realize that it's not about you. It's about the message. If you've got a message that you want to share, if you're promoting something that you truly believe is going to help someone else, or if you're a message that some wisdom that you want to share that you think is of value and going to help other people, then if I can help you get out of your own way and get out of that, all the voices in your head about why you shouldn't do this, and oh my God, why should anyone listen to me, and who am I, and oh my God, what if my neighbour sees me, what if my friend at work sees me, what are they going to say? And we work through all those fears.
Yes.
When they do it, it's just like you've stripped layers of conditioning, layers of all sorts off them, and they just start to shine and they start to glow and they start to think, well, I can do that. What else can I do? And it just, it reaches them.
That is so true. If you had asked me 5 years ago, I would never have said, I'm going to be doing a podcast. But it took those steps that you guided us through to get to this point. And what I like is that there's a ripple effect, to other parts of life, not just because it impacts, because you have the courage to do that, then you have courage to do other things. So it was life-changing for me. So, excuse me. So tell me who, so you were talking broadly there, but if in fact passion comes from pain, which I believe it does, that things that have happened in our lives somehow turn into or are connected to our life purpose. And so if you if you were to think, oh, who specifically do you want to help out there? Who would that be?
Fascinating you asked me that, because I've had the purpose conversation with two people in literally the last week or so. A lot of people ask, what's my purpose in life? Or ask themselves that question. And it's an area I've done a lot of work on. I've been in a space with a lot of people examining that for themselves. And I think, like you say, passion comes from pain, and purpose comes from helping other people with the thing that you actually need the most help with yourself.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And so by pushing yourself, so for me, for example, my purpose, I've got it written on the wall behind me up here because I've got a statement that I look at every day. And my purpose is to acknowledge others with care and love, for them to know that they are seen for their own perfect beauty, so that they can shine as their true selves. And that's a piece of self-discovery work I went through to uncover that and put words to that feeling of who I am when I'm at my natural best.
Yes.
When I uncovered that, I realized that that's how I show up for other people, because if I show up, do that for them, then hopefully they'll reciprocate and they'll do it for me. So if I show up with care and love and fully acknowledge other people so that they are seen for their own unique, perfect beauty, that's because for years I felt invisible, and I felt not seen, and I felt not beautiful, and I felt all of those things, the opposite of all of those things. And so what I've needed most in the world is to get myself to a place where I can be seen. And that's why getting on video for me, getting on YouTube, so I learned how to get on YouTube. It was massively transformational for me to actually just get video and share videos of me sharing stuff about me with a little private community is where it started to begin with. Remember the 90-day video journey? Recording a video of yourself every day for 90 days to get you being on camera before you then record an ad. That I had such shifts in that journey of putting myself out there and being seen by others and not being vilified, and actually having the complete opposite experience of having so much love and so much care and connection as a result of being vulnerable and sharing myself.
Yes.
I felt amazing because I was finally getting the recognition and the being seen for who I truly was. Whereas for years I'd performed, following the traditional life script, following the, putting the impression out there of being who I needed to be to perform the way that I thought I was supposed to perform.
Yes.
So now, having gone through that work myself and seen, felt so much more inner peace from tapping that myself, I want to give that gift to others. And so my purpose in life has become, having gone through that pain and that shift myself, has now gone to help others shine their light by fully acknowledging them with love and care. So does that make sense in terms of...
that makes sense. And when you talk about that and reaching out to people and you being vulnerable and sharing your light, it actually connects with their light. And then there's that merging, and then they are forever transformed in some small way too. So there really is that effect that can be hugely transformational in the world. And so that's talking about the online journey and what you've been through up to this point. And I'm going to look forward to see what the next 10 years is going to bring. Knowing what you know now, what would you do the same and what would you do differently?
In my online journey?
In your online journey.
What would I do the same or what would I do differently? That's a really interesting and tough question, because part of me says, well, it is what it is and I can't change it, wouldn't change it because it's led me to where I am today and to who I am today. I think what I wouldn't change is being vulnerable. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that vulnerability is the key to connection and belonging. And connection and belonging are two of the things that as humans we crave the most. And that, particularly in the online world as well, in the online space, is something that there's a lot of people being false out there. A lot of people, only showing their good moments, only sharing their highlights, never sharing their lows, and not being as real or as honest as transparent. And actually that's something I've also, that being in an online business community where people are coming to learn how to make money for various different reasons, a lot of them very good and very, noble and honourable, but also a lot of the opposite as well. A lot of people in there going, there's opportunity to manipulate, to scam, wheedle money out of people, out of vulnerable people. And there's a lot of malintent as much as there's a lot of malevolent intent as much as there is benevolent intent. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference.
Online, yeah.
Online, yeah. I mean, offline just as much as online, but I see a lot of it online. And I've been, unfortunately, on the receiving end of some of that. And it was not nice being scammed. But I think vulnerability is very powerful, but in a safe space, you've got to trust. You've got to be able to trust or be vulnerable with the right people at the right time. People that are going to respect that and honor that vulnerability and not make, use it to turn it against you, for example. So, I'm very, very grateful that I found the community that I did, because the kind of people it attracts, or certainly the ones that stick around there, are the ones that have definitely benevolent intent and are such beautiful, kind, generous people with so much value to give. Often they can't see their own value, and that's part of the beauty and the joy to help cover that and see that for themselves. So I wouldn't change that. What would I change? It's funny because what I'm going through right now is a period of another growth curve, should we say, which is very confronting, and having to confront a lot of my own fears and a lot of my own hang-ups, which is very frustrating. So I thought I'd worked through them all. I thought I'd done that.
That's funny.
I've done that for a long time.
I know. We're just a constant work in progress. That's the thing. Growth doesn't stop. Some people can put their heads in the sand and say, oh, I'm not going to change. And that's always a choice. But to be out there and to be vulnerable, we're being asked to grow.
Well, I challenge you a little bit on that. I think people can put their heads in the sand, but that doesn't stop life throwing lemons at them.
True enough. Yes, I would agree with that too. Because that's what you said. You didn't anticipate losing your job, but, there it goes. And then life said, okay, grow. You have to. No more putting off growth.
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
I believe we sometimes it feels like we go around in circles. If there's something a challenge you're facing, a problem you're experiencing, or something that's bothering you, you've got a choice. You either ignore it, you accept it, or you change it. And acceptance can sometimes mean ignoring it. And if you ignore it, then it goes, okay, you're not ready now, but I'm coming back. Just you wait. But I'm going to come back now. I'm going to come back more fierce. So you can either take me now, or you can take me when I'm up there. And so I think there's a lot of life throws opportunities at us to grow. And some of us grab those opportunities and go, great, right, bring it. Let's do the next stage and the next stage. Other people go, no, I can't. No, don't deal with that. No, I'm not dealing with that. No, not today. I can't handle that. And life goes,
not right now.
Right now, but I'm coming back. Don't you worry. And it does, and it will come back until the point when it literally destroys something in your life to the point you can't ignore it anymore. And you're forced to take action. And people, that's what it takes to let go of who you used to be and let go of the things and to step up to that next level, whether, kicking and screaming, whether you wanted to or not. Yes. Whereas for other people, and I think for me now, I've learned to embrace it. If an opportunity comes along, I now grab it with two hands, because I know that it's going to come back anyway. It's now, might as well do it now, because if not, I'm just putting it off till later and it'll be more painful later. But also it's like this curve, wherever you are now, it will go down for a while and it will be hard and bad and upsetting and challenging. And then you'll hit the bottom. And, dark night of the soul and all those kind of things you'll go through, and you'll go, oh my God, I can't do this. This isn't right. This isn't happening. I can't cope. But then you'll come out the other side and then you're going, no, okay, that was crap, but I survived. And then you start coming out and you always end up, you climb and you always end up higher than you started.
Yes.
And if you don't, just imagine where you can get to if you don't fight this part, because it's going to happen anyway, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
Just embrace it and see it as a gift and an opportunity rather than as a, victim. Oh my God, why me? Why is this happening to me? It shouldn't be happening to me, resisting it, because resistance is futile.
So I'm going to ask you a question off of my board game Now You're Talking. And it fits beautifully with what you were just saying. Magically. So kind.
Did you kind of pick nice one, or did you be prepared?
It was a little handpicked. What will you commit to doing at this moment? You are going live when you say this. What will you commit to doing outside of your comfort zone to take you to that next plateau is what I'm asking.
So the challenge I've set myself right now is launching a new business that is created by myself, or not doing it with a business partner, but something that we're creating from scratch by ourselves to take us to the next level in our own journey, and more purposeful and more aligned than I've ever been before. And I've been working on this all year, and I've faced a lot of demons, and I'm still facing them now. But my commitment is to not give up and to get ourselves out there so that we can shine our light and serve other people. And I really don't know what's stopping me right now, but I've burnt out. I've been at rock bottom, and I keep thinking I'm on the way out, on the way of the climb up, but I seem to keep slipping back down again. So there's something I'm not seeing, but my commitment is to not give up and to launch this business that I know is my heart's work.
What is one thing that you will commit to doing? Good try. Outside of your comfort zone. Good try. One thing.
That is why I love you. But yeah, we're going to launch our first paid offer. I still don't know quite what that is yet, but we're going to launch our own product/program next year, 2026. By the end of 2026, February 2026, we're going to be launching our first paid program for my new business called Naked Lobsters. We're going to get out there, and we're going to get complete strangers to come and work with us to define their second act, what they want in their life for this next phase of their life.
Right. Because where pain comes, purpose begins. And exactly what you've been through the first 10 years, you're going into your second 10 years since you lost your job, and you are going to take people by the hand and take them through the same process and help others to shine their light in the world. Wonderful. I just wanted you to say it. Perfect. So, Caroline, words of wisdom for people who may be at the situation where something has happened, where they've lost their job or some crisis. This life doesn't give us a free ride. What are some words of wisdom to help others?
Thank you. Yeah. If you're in it right now, then grace, compassion, and trust, I think, are the three words that come to mind. So give yourself some grace for what you're going through. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't feel like you shouldn't be in this situation, it's your fault, or you should be getting through it faster, quicker, stronger, better than you are. You're in it for a reason, and trust that it's happening for you and not to you. And trust that you've got everything you need inside of you to get through this, and have some compassion for yourself for the way you do it and for where you are right now, and know that you'll be okay, and you'll be better than okay. You'll be better, and you'll be stronger, you'll be more resilient, you'll be more whatever it is that you need to be more of when you get out the other side. And my favorite mantra, the mantra I use most for myself and I share with others, is this too shall pass. And what I mean by that is life is just life. Life is happening. Things are happening objectively. You know, the sun rises every day. The sun goes to bed every day. You know, we go around the sun. Another iteration of the planet. You know, people go to work, whatever it is, babies are born. Life is life. How we feel about life and what meaning we add to that is how we experience life, is whether we experience it as positive or negative, good or bad, wonderful, joyful, dreadful. But those feelings, they come and go. They ebb and flow. And wherever you are right now, if that's at rock bottom or if that's at the bliss at top,
the pinnacle, yeah.
At the pinnacle, this too shall pass. So wherever you are, it's going to change. That's the only constant in life, is change. So if you're in the worst part, don't worry. This too shall pass. It's going to, you're going to get through it. You're not going to be there forever. But at the same time, when you're at the pinnacle, remember those moments and fully enjoy those moments. Squeeze all the juice out of those moments while you've got them, because they're not going to last either. And those are the things that when you remember the memories and hold on to the memories of the pinnacle times, that's what gets you through the low times. Cool. So if you're in the low time right now, think back to all the times that you faced challenges of the past and you got through them. You survived, because you wouldn't be here right now today if you hadn't survived. You're a survivor. So you got this. Trust yourself, trust your gut, and do what you can, and don't expect too much of yourself.
Wonderful, Caroline. So I look forward to, and we'll have you back again when you're launched. and you could talk about what that process was. So I look forward to it. And thank you for sharing so vulnerably today. I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. Because like you say, our pain is our purpose, and having been through that pain, and that's why I love the opportunity to share on platforms like this, because if by sharing my story, if you by sharing your story, you giving us, your guests a platform to share their story, for the people watching, for the people listening, sometimes all they need to see is to witness somebody else experiencing what they've, experiencing, or feeling what they're feeling, that validates them, makes them realize they're not alone, and makes them realize.
Oh, true. Yes.
Permission.
Yeah.
Be who they are and do whatever they need to do. So I see now being vulnerable as a duty, rather than whatever else it might be. I don't know.
Or it's really, really, really scary.
Yeah.
It's a duty that you then give to other people and give them the courage to be vulnerable themselves.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, thank you again. Caroline, thank you for bringing such honesty, depth, and humanity into this conversation. What I hope listeners take away from today is this reminder: you don't need permission to trust what you already know. The quiet nudges, the lived experience, the wisdom you've earned, it all matters. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to sit with it a little longer. Share it with someone who might need to hear it, or let it spark a conversation at your own kitchen table. This is Now You're Talking, where meaningful conversations bring us back to ourselves. You've been listening to Now You're Talking. Parenting with a busy career while guiding kids through the lure of screens isn't easy, but meaningful connection is always worth it. Take a moment to start a conversation with someone you care about. It could be the highlight of their day. Until next time, let the conversations begin. Now You're Talking.
I'm Michelle Abraham, and we are honored to have Adrienne Giffen's Now You're Talking podcast on our High Vibe Podcast Network. For more high vibe shows like hers, head on over to highvibepodcastnetwork.com and grab your free gift from our gift vault from all of our hosts. Until then, stay high vibe.